I am so glad that you're here today. I've been thinking about this moment. I've been thinking about you, about what brought you here. And now we finally get to do this work together. I also know that this room holds pain for you. I know that you almost didn't click to join. I know that you're here with a shattered heart, wondering if anything can help, if you'll ever get relief. But the fact that you're here anyway, that is the beginning of healing. That is the beginning of strength. And you and only you are responsible for taking that step. So before we do anything else, before we dive into content, I want you to just pause with me for just a minute. I want you to take a nice big deep breath in through your nose, hold, and out through your mouth. Nice long exhale. And I want you to please hear these words. You are not alone in this. I promise you, you are really not. You're totally safe here. You're safe in this space, in this moment. And I am going to walk you through this every step of the way. Whatever happened, whatever you're feeling, however you're falling apart right now, it all makes total sense. All of it. Checking phones at 3 a.m., it makes sense. Crying in the car so your kids don't see you, it makes sense. That feeling like you're going crazy, you are not going crazy. You are having a completely normal response to something that should never have happened in the first place. So I want you to just be here with me, just as you are, messy, hurting, maybe still in the same pajamas you put on last night. I do not care. The only thing I care about is that you made it here at all. You are exactly where you need to be right now. And we are going to figure this out together. Also, if you're worried about holding all this info, you can let it go. We're recording this masterclass and you will get a replay in your email afterwards. For those of you who don't know me yet, hello. My name is Dr. Cami Froud, and I'm a licensed couple and trauma therapist. Betrayal recovery is one of my specialties, and it's truly become a huge part of my life's work. I have a PhD in human development and family studies, and I'm certified in EMDR trauma therapy and the Gottman method for couples. I'm also the very proud author of Healing Trauma Together, which is a guide for couples to strengthen their relationship as they heal from complex trauma. It can be uncommon for therapists to talk about what first led them to therapy, but in my role today as a relationship educator, I want to offer you a little glimpse into my life so you can trust me as someone who's walked the walk. I want you to know that I'm not just coming from a lofty clinical or theoretical perspective in the ivory tower, but that I've also had to contend with personal hardship. I was a very anxious, very shy kid, the kind who kind of hung back and watched everything and everyone before entering a room. And I learned really early on how to read faces and how to kind of sense a person's energy. I learned how to gauge the emotional temperature of a space before I actually stepped into that space. The history here is that my dad had a temper, and that temper, as it often does, turned to alcohol abuse when I was a teenager. And after a very long and arduous battle with addiction, my dad passed away from his addiction when I was an adult. None of this was easy. I'm not going to lie to you. In fact, I would describe it as grueling. It was probably the worst thing I ever experienced. And even with all that suffering, I landed on the other side a more evolved, thoughtful, empathic person. Even still, do I wish it all never happened? Yes, 100%. But it did happen. And after I accepted the hard fact that it did happen and there was nothing I could do to change that fact, I spent a lot of time reflecting, talking, reading, writing, feeling, yes, feeling. That one was the hardest one for me. Even though I'm a therapist, that was hard. I was just trying to make sense of that whole experience any way that I possibly could. It was so confusing and hurtful and awful. I didn't know what to make of it for a really long time. It took me years to make meaning out of such an atrocity. And if I'm being honest, the process of healing, it's still ongoing for me. The way that I make meaning and purpose out of this part of my life and history, it continues to change every single day. It changes as I change, as my life changes, as my experiences and my relationships evolve. It is a process called life. So I know what it's like to have someone you love choose to break your heart, confuse you to the end of the earth and back. I know what it's like when someone who's supposed to make you feel safe is also someone who makes you feel afraid. But I also grew up with a very loving, very connected mom, younger brother, and extended family. My aunts, my uncles, my cousins, alongside my friendships, which I hold really dear as chosen family. My other family members showed me what presence and safety could really look like, even when everything else felt uncertain. I had models, and that really, really mattered. It mattered for my healing. And when I met my husband, we also did important growth work together, real intentional work to build something between us that was safe, reliable, constant, and steady. Those qualities were extremely important to me. I wanted a foundation I could depend on. I also wanted fun and joy and magic. Those things came too, but only after safety and stability were established. Magic came after trust was solidified. We learned each other's nervous systems. We built each other's dreams up. We evolved as a couple and we evolved as individuals. My healing did not happen in spite of romantic partnership. It happened inside of it. And that's part of the reason why I believe so deeply in this kind of transformation. Over the years, I've had the honor and the privilege of working with hundreds of couples who are navigating infidelity. And I have to tell you, this topic has become so close to my heart and my spirit. I've done extensive training on how to help people, both individuals and couples, heal from this kind of deep, deep betrayal. This work has been some of the most sacred and meaningful of my life. It has also been some of the hardest, but I'm so deeply grateful, grateful to do this work, and grateful to every single couple who has trusted me enough to invite me into the most tender, vulnerable parts of their lives. That trust is sacred to me. And while I bring my therapeutic training to this space, today we are in teaching territory, not therapy territory. So even though I am a licensed therapist, today I'm here in an educational capacity. I'm going to share with you what I've seen actually work and what doesn't work when it comes to healing from betrayal trauma. Even though this isn't a therapy session, it is a real opportunity to learn about the recovery process and to understand what your body and nervous system are going through. But before I tell you more, I want to share why this work matters to me. I will never forget my first session with a couple we'll call Maria and David. Maria had discovered David's affair 6 weeks earlier. She was a successful executive, the kind of person who just like commanded a boardroom, made multi-million dollar decisions daily, who everyone came to for advice. But when she sat down in my office, she told me something that shook me. She said, Dr. Cami, I stood in the grocery store yesterday trying to decide between two types of bread to bring home for my family. I kept going back and forth between them. I couldn't even trust myself to pick out a loaf of bread. I don't know who I am anymore. Maria's experience is best described as the space between. The space between who you are becoming, who you are, and who you are becoming. She was not the woman who confidently ran board meetings anymore, but she wasn't fully broken. She was becoming. I worked with Maria and David for a year, and 6 months in, something shifted. Maria came in and said, I realized something. I didn't just survive the affair. I found parts of myself I never even knew existed. I'm setting boundaries I've never set before. I'm asking for what I need. I'm stronger, I'm clearer, I'm more myself than I've ever been. And that has nothing to do with whether David does his work or not. That is what's possible in this space between. One of my favorite authors is Chicana theorist Gloria Anzaldúa. She gave us that concept, nepantla. Nepantla is an indigenous Mexican term describing the space between worlds. It's that space where you're no longer who you were, but you are not yet who you're becoming. She called it the space where transformation happens. That's exactly where betrayal puts you, in nepantla. You're no longer that person who blindly trusted, but you haven't yet become whoever you're going to be on the other side of this. You're suspended between the relationship you thought you had, but then whatever comes next. It's disorienting, it's terrifying, and it is also where the deepest transformation becomes possible. As a couples trauma therapist, betrayal is the number one reason why people reach out to me. And what I've learned is this: the deepest healing does not happen in the mind, it happens in the body, in that messy animal wisdom of your nervous system learning slowly, painfully, beautifully that it's safe to come home to yourself once again. If you're here, I am guessing that life is very upside down for you, friend. You toss and turn all night. Your mind races at a million miles per hour with all the what ifs. Even though you know it's making things worse, you're checking phones at 2 a.m. You may have become someone you don't even recognize. Obsessive, desperate, completely unlike yourself. You torture yourself reviewing details that ultimately devastate you. But on the other hand, you feel like you need those details just to feel safe. You go through emails, you go through texts and other messages over and over and over and over and over again. You're trying to find solace in the chaos. Then the fear begins to broaden. You start questioning every memory from years ago, wondering what was real and what was a lie. Every birthday, every anniversary, every moment where your partner stepped out for a quick business call. It's all under the microscope. It's all up for scrutiny. Your whole life, everything you thought was true. Maybe it was all a sham. It's emotional quicksand. If any of this resonates for you, I hear you. This is incredibly hard. And I want you to know what you're experiencing is a normal response to betrayal. You are not losing your mind. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it's designed to do when safety is threatened. Your body is not betraying you, even though it feels like it is. Your body is trying to protect you. It's doing exactly what bodies have done for millions of years when the bond we depend on for survival is threatened. Maybe the betrayal just happened, or maybe you're finally admitting that what you did years ago wasn't actually healing. Maybe you're fighting to save your relationship, or maybe you've packed your bags. Wherever you are in this hot mess of a mess, you're in the right place. Remember the concept of nepantla I talked about earlier, that space in between who you were and who you're becoming? Nepantla is not just an abstract concept. It's where you wake up every single morning. You are standing at a crucial threshold in your life right now. You're no longer the person who trusted without question, but you haven't yet stepped into whoever you're becoming on the other side of this repair process. And as disorienting and painful as this space is, it is sacred ground. This is ground where transformation happens. Today, we're going to talk about why betrayal hits so hard, why it feels so different from other kinds of pain and trauma. I'm also going to share the three biggest mistakes I see people make when they're recovering from betrayal and they just can't get to the other side of the suffering. These are mistakes that keep you stuck in a constant state of hypervigilance, the ones that actually prevent you from ever feeling safe again. And here's the thing, these mistakes are understandable. They make total sense given where you are, but they also keep you trapped. I know you know that. So let's flip the script. Instead of telling you what doesn't work, I'm going to walk you through what actually works, a trauma-informed approach that treats betrayal as what it really is, a nervous system injury that needs specialized healing. But it's even more than that. The betrayal rupture can actually become a doorway to coming home to yourself in a way that you may never have before. There's a French philosopher named Gaston Bachelard, and he spent his whole life studying how we experience space and intimacy. And he wrote something that has always stuck with me. It's so beautiful. The house we were born in is physically inscribed in us. And what he meant is that our very early experiences of safety, of being held and protected, they literally live in our bodies forever. And when betrayal happens, it's not just that someone broke a promise. It's that the house you built together, the space where you learn to feel safe again as an adult, that entire house, it collapses. And then suddenly you're left trying to find your way home to yourself in a sea of rubble. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're learning how to rebuild the house of your body, how to make it safe to live inside yourself once again. By the end of our time together, you're going to understand why you feel the way you do. Here's my promise. You will know what to do next. And if you want more support after this, I've got you covered. But first, let's really get into what actually works. This next part's important. If you're here, there's a good chance you're in a tremendous amount of pain right now. Some of you may be barely holding on. I I really, really see you, and you deserve to get help right now, immediately. This masterclass is going to outline great tools and a blueprint for moving forward, but it is not a substitute for professional mental health care. If you're in crisis, and it's okay if you are, if you're having thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, or you need immediate support, please, please reach out for help. Call or text 988 for the suicide or crisis hotline. They are really wonderful at that line. You can also contact a licensed mental health provider, or you can, of course, go to the emergency room. There is no shame in getting the help that you need. The program I'm sharing today is a wonderful complement to therapy, but it is not a replacement for it. And you might also be wondering if it's too soon or it's too late for you. I know that when you're in this much pain, it can feel like nothing matters, like you'll never feel better. Time has just stopped. But here's why this matters so much, this work, and why addressing it now actually makes a real difference. Every single day that you stay in this dysregulated state, your nervous system is learning that love is not safe. And this is not just about your current relationship. This is about your relationship to yourself, with your children, with every future connection you'll have. Your body holds memory. Not just cognitive memory, not like, oh, I remember I had a tuna fish sandwich for lunch. It's not that. It's cellular memory. It's somatic memory. It's the kind that lives in your tissues. It's the way you hold tension in your shoulders or you clench your jaw when you sleep. Right now, your body is writing a story. And the story it's writing is love is dangerous, intimacy is a threat, opening my heart means getting hurt again and again. That story doesn't just live in your thoughts, though. It lives in your nervous system. And if you don't address it, If you don't help your body write a different story, it will become the template for every relationship you have from this moment forward. This also includes the young people in your life, too, your children and your family. Not because you're going to tell them about the affair or burden them with adult problems, but because they feel your nervous system. They read your body the way you read a book. When you startle, they learn to be on alert. When you go silent and numb, they learn that feelings are not safe. When you monitor and control, they learn that trust is naive. That's what Bachelard meant when he wrote about the house being inscribed in us. When betrayal happens, the house you built together, where you learned to feel safe as an adult, it collapses. And you're left trying to find your footing, trying to find your way home. Today, we're going to rebuild that house. The betrayal invited you. I know it did not invite you by choice and certainly not willingly, but it invited you nonetheless. It invited you into a deeper relationship with yourself, with your own body, with your capacity to survive what you thought would absolutely destroy you. You are already going through this. There is no question about that. But here's what you do get to choose. Will you let this break you open, or will it just break you? Whether you're 2 days out or 2 years out, whether you're reconciling or separating, this work matters. Your healing doesn't depend on anyone else's choices. It only depends on your own. Let me take a moment and explain what's actually happening in your nervous system right now. Once you understand the neurobiology here, I think everything else is going to make a lot more sense in that frame. When you discovered the betrayal, your amygdala is your brain's alarm system. It went into overdrive alarms, and then it got stuck in that place. It cannot tell the difference between what's happened then and what's happening now. Everything feels like danger. Meanwhile, your hippocampus, the part of your brain that organizes memories and helps you understand time, temporality, it's basically gone offline. This is why you feel like you're living in a fog, why you can't remember if something happened Tuesday or 2 weeks ago, why you keep obsessing over the same details, trying to make them make sense. And then your prefrontal cortex, right here behind your forehead, it's your executive command center. It handles logic, planning, decision making, emotional regulation. It's completely flooded and overwhelmed. And this is why you feel like you've lost yourself, why you're making decisions you wouldn't normally make. But you have not lost yourself. Your brain is just in survival mode. And in survival mode, only survival matters. This is not just psychological, it is physiological. Your brain literally thinks you're in danger. You are not crazy. You are not weak. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it evolved to do. The problem is that the strategies it's using to keep you safe are actually the same ones that just keep you more stuck. Before we go deeper into what keeps us stuck, I want to give you an actual experience of what regulation can feel like. This is not theory. This is something you're going to be able to feel right now in your body. Your nervous system is probably doing something it's been doing constantly since the discovery. It is scanning for lies, scanning for inconsistencies, scanning for truth. That scanning, it's exhausting you, but you can't stop because stopping feels dangerous. So we're going to work with it. We're not going to work against it. So right now, I want you to look around the room and I want you to find the exits, doors, windows. Just notice where the exits are. So, for example, in my room right now, I have a door behind me. I have a window in front of me. I have a window to my right. Now name them aloud. So I'd say safety behind me, safety in front of me, safety to my right. Now you try. Go ahead and name the exits. Yes, name them out loud. All right. I'm asking you to do this because your brain needs to know that it can leave. Trapped animals panic. Animals with escape routes can regulate. You've been feeling trapped. Trapped in the relationship, trapped in the discovery, trapped in not knowing what's true. But right now, in this room, you are not trapped, and your body needs that information. Now that your brain remembers it's not trapped, let's do the second part of the exercise. I want you to find the two farthest corners of the room. So here's my far corner right here. And then here's my other far corner right here. Okay? And then I want you to let your eyes move from corner to corner very slowly. This, and like this. Okay, so you can watch me. I'm moving my eyes from the far corner to the far corner here, far corner here. You're going very slowly. Don't rush it. You're doing a great job. Just like that. Now take a breath. Let your eyes settle. Just kind of droop them. Gonna go left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Just like that. Nice. You did great. Now, I want you to bring your attention to the space behind you. You don't have to turn around, just notice. Your back is protected. There's a wall. There's a chair, something solid. Since discovery, your nervous system has been acting like threat could come out of anywhere. From a text message, from a look, from a lie you haven't caught yet. But right now, in this actual room, you can account for the space around you. You just did it. Exits, corners, what's behind you. So we're going to have you close your eyes. Very nice. Take a nice deep breath in. And now place your hands on your heart. Hello, heart. Feel its beat. Come back. Very nice. Welcome back. This lateral eye movement, it's doing something very specific. It's activating the same pathways we use in EMDR therapy. You are telling your brain, I can survey this environment. I'm oriented in space. I'm not stuck in a memory or a loop. That's called orientation. And it's one of the fastest ways to tell your survival brain that you're in the present, not reliving the past. Now just notice for a minute. Did your breathing shift at all? Did your shoulders drop even slightly? That's not relaxation. That's your brain receiving data from your environment that it's not in immediate danger, and it's adjusting accordingly. The scanning didn't stop because you willed it to stop or you forced it to stop. It quieted because you gave it a job it could actually complete. Survey the room, confirm safety, done. Anytime you need to remember yourself, your safety, your grounding, use this strategy. Locate the exits, name the exits, locate the corners, track the corners. This is the kind of work we do in phase one. Precise, targeted practices that work with your neurobiology, not against it. Your nervous system doesn't need to be soothed. It needs to be reoriented into the present moment, where the affair isn't happening, where you have choices, where you're not trapped. Now, I want to share with you the three biggest mistakes that I see people make when they're trying to heal from betrayal. Please hear me. These are completely understandable responses. They make total sense, friend. It just makes sense. And they are keeping you stuck in trauma instead of helping you heal. So if you see yourself in some of these, take it as a learning moment. You're doing the absolute best that you can. And just like Maya Angelou says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. If something I say feels painfully familiar, be gentle with yourself. Have gratitude for the insight and take it as a sign that change is absolutely possible. Here's what happens. You think if you can just understand why it happened, get all the details, figure out the timeline, then you will finally feel better. So you dig, you analyze, you create timelines, you build theories, you check phones, emails, messages, you replay conversations over and over. You analyze every late night at work, every time your partner seemed distant. And sometimes that feels necessary, right? It even feels weirdly, it feels good sometimes. It's like you're taking back control, like you're finally getting the truth. But here's what's actually happening underneath all that. You're feeding the hypervigilance. Every single time you check, every search, every question, you're teaching your nervous system that it needs to stay on high alert to keep you safe. Trauma lives in your body, not in your thoughts. Your rational brain thinks it needs more information to make decisions, but your nervous system does not need more information. It needs to feel safe. And you cannot think your way into feeling safe. You can't logic your way out of a trauma response. This is a body-based problem that requires body-based solutions. And until you address the dysregulation in your nervous system, no amount of information, no matter how detailed or honest, is going to make you feel secure. If you skip addressing your nervous system, you will stay trapped in hypervigilance for months and years. I have seen it. You cannot make clear decisions because you're always in fight or flight mode. You might leave in panic or you might stay in desperation. But either way, the decision is not coming from your wise, grounded self. I worked with a client, we're going to call her Jennifer, who'd been checking her husband's location on her phone dozens of times a day. Every time he was late, every time he didn't text back immediately, she would check. It was consuming her life. Within 3 weeks of doing the body-based nervous system practices in phase one of the program, Jennifer realized something amazing. She'd gone 2 full days without checking his location once. And it was not because she forced herself to stop. No, not through willpower or shame. It's because her body finally felt safe enough that it did not need to constantly monitor anymore. She told me, it's like my body finally believed me that I was going to be okay, no matter what. And once it believed that, it could finally rest. That's what's possible when you address the body problem with body solutions. Amazing things can happen. This next one is huge. I see it all the time, and it's always done with such good intention. You try to force trust. You delete the tracking apps, you white knuckle your way through it, you tell yourself to just get over it and trust then already. Here's the problem with this one. Trust is something that your body feels and you really cannot force it. Trust is not a decision that you make with your rational mind. It is what's called a felt sense in your body that develops over thousands of very teeny, teeny, tiny micro moments and experiences. You may be saying to yourself, okay, Dr. Kiemi, I hear you, but forcing trust has to be better than living in pain 24/7. What's the harm of just trying it out? Force function my body. If I can just make myself trust, so much would be fixed. Well, when you force trust before your nervous system is ready, you're overriding your body's alarm system. And this creates a terrible internal conflict that can actually deepen the trauma response and make things even worse. Your body is protecting you based on history, but you're basically saying, body, I don't care what you experienced. I don't care if you feel unsafe. We are plowing forward. We are trusting no matter what. And let me tell you, I personally understand it. I understand the desire to just push forward. I know how much you want to heal. And I really want to support you in doing the healing work that needs to happen. While at the same time, honoring where your body and spirit are right now in the recovery process. One of my clients, we'll call them Marcus, said it best. He'd been trying to force himself to trust his partner again after their affair. He'd throw away the evidence he'd collected, deleted the tracking apps, and told himself, today I will trust. But every night he'd lie awake with his heart pounding, convinced his partner was lying to him. The forced trust made him feel worse, not better. After working through the program, Marcus told me, I finally feel understood. Trust isn't something I decide with my mind. It's something that grew back slowly, like new skin after a burn. I didn't force it. I just created the conditions in my nervous system for it to heal naturally. And when trust came back eventually, because it does, it was real. It was solid because my body was actually on board this time. You are waiting for apologies. I hear that. You're waiting for answers. You are waiting for undisputable, undeniable proof. And you think that if your partner does enough, says enough, proves enough, then you will finally feel better. But when betrayal happens, you lose trust in your partner and you lose trust in yourself, in your judgment and your intuition. The deeper wound is actually the loss of trust in yourself. Your healing cannot depend entirely on someone else's actions. The fundamental safety you need to rebuild, it's internal. Because when you make your healing dependent on someone else's choices, you give away your power. You stay stuck waiting, unable to move forward until they do exactly what you need, which may never happen, or may not happen when you need it to happen. All three of these mistakes have the same root. They're trying to fix the situation before healing the injury. It's like trying to run a marathon on a broken ankle. No matter how determined you are, no matter how much willpower you have, your body must heal first. Your nervous system is injured. And until you address that injury, until you help your body feel safe again, you can't think clearly. You cannot make good decisions. You cannot truly heal your relationship or yourself. I will never forget when Jake, not his real name, of course, finally stopped waiting for his wife to fix how he felt. He'd been waiting for the perfect apology, the complete timeline, the proof that she would never do it again. Waiting, 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 waiting. 8 weeks into the program, something shifted. Jake came into a session and said, I realized something this week. My healing is mine. It's not dependent on her apologies or her timeline or her doing everything perfectly. Whether she does her work or not, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to heal. I'm going to rebuild myself. He told me. The moment I realized my healing was mine, not dependent on her, I got my power back. And ironically, and I also see this every single day, that's when our relationship actually started to improve because I wasn't coming from desperation anymore. I was coming from choice. Betrayal doesn't just break trust in your partner, it breaks trust in yourself, in your own judgment, in your own intuition, in your ability to know what's real. And that's the deeper wound. It really is. It's not just how could they do this, but how did I not know? How did I not see? How can I ever trust myself again? There's a Buddhist teacher, Pema Chowdhury, who talks about groundlessness. This one just, I always just feel it. When the earth drops out from under you and everything you thought was solid reveals itself to be space. She says the only way through is to learn to live without ground, to learn to trust the falling itself. That's what betrayal forces us to confront groundlessness. The fact that the only real safety is in learning to be okay with uncertainty. This is not about accepting infidelity as okay. Infidelity is wrong, period. What it is about is accepting that you cannot control what happened. You can only control how you respond to it, how you heal from it, how you choose to rebuild, not your partner, but yourself after what happened. And this is why we need a framework that's evidence-based, that's actually used in trauma work, that works with your biology instead of against it. That's what I'm going to share with you next. The natural next question, of course, is if those are the mistakes that keep us stuck, what actually works? After years of working with people in my practice and seeing what genuinely helps people heal, I can tell you that recovery requires a specific framework, one that works with your biology, not against it. What works is treating betrayal for what it is. It's a nervous system injury that needs to heal in stages. You cannot skip steps. You cannot rush the process. But when you follow this framework, healing happens. Not just coping, not just surviving, actual healing. Before you can process what happened, before you can make any big decisions, your nervous system needs to remember what safety actually feels like. This is not just a cognitive understanding. It's not telling yourself in the mirror through mantras, okay, I'm safe. I know I'm safe. Or doing affirmations in the morning. This is about your body knowing that you're safe. We're teaching your nervous system, you are safe right now in this moment. Think of it like a broken bone. First, you have to stabilize the broken bone. You set it, cast it, keep it still. Your nervous system is fractured right now. Phase one is the cast. And we do this through specific somatic practices, breath work, bilateral stimulation techniques that calm your amygdala in the middle of your brain and bring your prefrontal cortex, that place right behind your forehead, back online. These are not just relaxation techniques. They're targeted practices that speak directly to your nervous system in the language it actually understands. In the stabilize phase, you will learn how to sleep through the night without checking phones. You'll learn how to eat again, even when your stomach is in knots, manage flashbacks and intrusive thoughts, ground yourself when you're spiraling, and make decisions from clarity instead of panic. This phase creates the foundation for everything else. If you skip this, you will stay stuck in fight or flight, making decisions from panic, unable to access your wisdom or clarity. But when you stabilize your nervous system, it's such a beautiful thing. You start sleeping throughout the night. You don't need to check locations. You don't need to check email. You don't need to check phones. You stop compulsively going through those messages. You can be in the same room as your partner. You can make decisions about your relationship without your heart beating out of your chest. That's when real healing can actually begin. That's when you start to think about the future without immediately spiraling. Processing and integration is where we use trauma-informed strategies to help your brain actually process what happened. And this is not about reliving the trauma. It's about metabolizing it. Think of it sort of like digestion. Right now, the experience is stuck in your system, undigested. Phase two helps you process it so it can actually move through you instead of staying stuck inside your body. During this phase, we also work with parts. That part of you that still loves them, the part that's furious, the part that blames yourself, they're all valid. They all have wisdom. And instead of trying to make one part win, we help them integrate. We help them all have a voice in your healing, all have a spot at the table. Rainer Rilke, one of my favorite poets, wrote, "Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us act just once with beauty and with courage. Your dragons right now, the rage, the fear, the hypervigilance, they are not your enemies. They are your protectors who are still fighting a war that has long, long been over." Phase two helps them understand that they can rest now. There's nothing more to fight. There's only space to heal. This phase is about learning to process the trauma without re-traumatizing yourself. Integrate the different parts of your experience, develop self-compassion for both who you were and this beautiful person that you're becoming. Understanding the meaning of what happened without being consumed by it, and work through stuck emotions in a way that's safe and sustainable. This phase takes about 3 to 6 months, although, of course, everyone moves at their own pace. Phase three is about reconnection and reclamation. This is where you discover who you are on the other side of betrayal, not who you were before. That person is gone. And honestly, it's sad, but it's also okay. But who you are now, who are you today afterwards? Who is this version of you who survived something you thought would destroy you? This isn't about moving on or getting over it. It's about integration, letting this experience become part of your story without it becoming your entire story. This is where you reclaim your sense of safety and your sense of self, your capacity for joy, your ability to trust, not blindly like before, but wisely and with great intention. Your power to choose the life and relationship you really want and deserve. And in this phase, you will start to realize something. The betrayal was a theft, but your response, the way you moved through the trauma, that was a reclaiming of self, a reclaiming of dignity, a reclaiming of who you are in the face of adversity. In this phase, you're learning to rebuild trust in yourself first, and then you get to decide. This is my favorite part. Who about trusting others? You get to decide that, whether to trust your partner again. You get to reconnect with meaning and purpose. You're establishing healthy boundaries from strength, not fear. You're making clear decisions about your relationship from a regulated place. You are discovering something profound, growth that doesn't erase the betrayal, it alchemizes it. You're stepping back into your life with agency. This phase often takes longer, 4 to 6 months, but here's what's different about this phase than the earlier ones. By this point, you're not white knuckling through life anymore. You're actually living again. The work becomes less about healing and more about thriving. And here's the wonderful thing about phase three. This is where you realize that while the betrayal took something from you, your response to it, the deep work you've done, has actually given something back. It's not a return to who you were, but a discovery of who you're becoming, who you've became. These three phases, stabilization, processing, and reconnection, they're not just theory. They are a roadmap that hundreds of people have used to find their way back to themselves. Right now, I'm guessing that you are exhausted because you're half in. You're trying to heal, but you're also staying hypervigilant. You're trying to make wise decisions, but you're in crisis mode. David White, who writes about work and love, said the cure for exhaustion is not necessarily rest. The cure for exhaustion is wholeheartedness. Healing requires wholeheartedness. And this framework, it gives you permission to be wholehearted in your healing, to commit fully to the process of coming back to yourself. This works because it follows the neurobiology of trauma. Traditional therapy, it often starts with talking about what happened. But when you talk about your trauma before your nervous system is regulated, you just end up re traumatizing yourself. Similarly, traditional couples therapy often focuses immediately on the relationship, communication, rebuilding trust, making decisions. But you cannot rebuild trust when you're not even safe in your own body. This framework respects the order of operations that your system needs. Safety first, processing second, rebuilding third. You will experience relief whether you stay in this relationship or whether you leave. This is not about saving your relationship or ending it. Our work together, friends, it's about saving yourself. My approach is not wishful thinking or new age philosophy. It's based on decades of neuroscience and trauma research. It draws from polyvagal theory and research by Dr. Stephen Porges on our autonomic nervous system and how it responds to threat and safety. It's informed by the work of Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, that showed us that trauma lives in the body, not just in our memories. It incorporates principles from dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT, developed by Marsha Linehan, which gives evidence-based skills for emotional regulation and something called distress tolerance. It's based on trauma research showing that bilateral stimulation, the corner exercise we did, can help process traumatic memories so they lose their emotional charge. This is the foundation of EMDR therapy, which has decades of research supporting its effectiveness for trauma. This is science. This is evidence-based. This is what works. We've talked about what's happening in your body. We've talked about the mistakes that keep people stuck, and we've talked about the framework that actually works. Now, I want to share with you how you can actually use this framework, how you can take everything we've covered today and actually put it into practice in your own life. Because a conceptual understanding is one thing, but having a roadmap that you can actually follow, that is something else entirely. So I've taken this three-phase framework, everything that we've been talking about today, and created a comprehensive educational program called Surviving Betrayal, Finding Safety and Stability After an Affair. This is a self-paced educational program designed for anyone recovering from infidelity, whether you're staying, whether you're leaving, or whether you're still deciding. Because honestly, you don't have to know what you want to do about your relationship to start healing yourself. The program is 32 weeks in three distinct phases. It's a complete recovery framework. It's not therapy, it's comprehensive education. This program includes evidence-based tools and practices that you can start using immediately. Whether you're trying to save your relationship, leave it, or you're still trying to figure out where you land in this messy space. So let's talk about who this program is for. You would be a superb fit if, one, you're staying in your relationship, you're leaving, or honestly, you have no idea which way is up or down. You do not need to have that figured out to start healing. Two, the betrayal happened 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago. The timing of this, interestingly, really doesn't matter. Whether you're in the immediate aftermath or you're realizing years later that you never actually healed, this framework works. 3, you're working with a therapist and you want structured support between sessions, or you're navigating this on your own because therapy isn't accessible right now, or therapy just doesn't feel right for you. This program is designed to meet you exactly where you are in this moment and to walk alongside of you through all 3 phases of healing at a pace that actually works for your nervous system, not some arbitrary timeline that doesn't make sense for your life or for your body. It's important that you know exactly what you're signing up for. So let me walk you through what you're going to get in each phase of the program. Phase 1 is stabilization. It's approximately weeks 1 through 8, although again, all these dates are approximate based on your own body and your own life. This is where you're building your foundation. You'll get nervous system education, so you'll actually understand what's happening in your body and why. Grounding and regulation practices you can use anytime, anywhere. Sleep protocols and rumination management techniques. Boundary setting frameworks that actually work. And the complete foundation toolkit. Everything you need to stabilize your nervous system. This is the cast for your broken body. This is what lets everything else become possible. Then we move into phase 2. This is where the deeper work happens. This is where you're learning how to actually process what happened, not just understanding it intellectually, but helping your brain and body really metabolize it. We're working with all those conflicting parts of yourself that feel at war with each other. We're building real self-compassion, not the fake, I should be nicer to myself, not that. Deep, deep compassion that actually changes how you relate to the core sense of yourself. You're learning how to make meaning of this experience without letting it define you. You're doing body-based practices that help release the trauma that's been stored in your tissues. Because talking alone will not get that out. This is where the trauma stops being stuck in your body and starts moving through your body. This is where relief becomes palpable. Phase 3 is where you really start to reclaim yourself. In this phase, you'll work through trust rebuilding practices. And we start with self-trust because that's the foundation of everything. You'll go through identity reconstruction and future self-visioning, really exploring who you want to be on the other side of this. There's a values clarification process to help you figure out what actually matters to you now. You'll engage with post-traumatic growth practices, discovering what this experience, as awful as it's been, has opened up in you and for you. You'll also get a relationship decision-making framework so you can make clear decisions from a regulated, grounded place instead of from panic or desperation. This is where you step back into your life with agency and choice. Now, every single week of this program includes video lessons where I walk you through the concepts so you're directly learning right from me, just like tonight. You get guided audio practices that are about 20 to 30 minutes, things you can actually do, not hours of homework. And you get worksheets to track your progress so you can really see how far you've come over time. Everything is designed to be digestible, even when your concentration is completely shot and you can't focus on anything for more than 5 minutes. Most of the daily practices take just about 20 to 30 minutes. You can even break these practices up throughout the day, or you can choose the ones that feel most relevant to you and save the rest for later. I designed this program in this particular way because I know you do not have endless time and energy right now. This is designed for real life, for where you really are today. When you enroll today, you'll receive 3 bonuses designed to support you in the hardest moments of this process. This includes 5 SOS audio guided practices written and narrated by me, very especially for you, for this group, for this program. Each one is under 5 minutes for those 2 a.m. spirals, moments of sheer panic, moments when you're about to check their phone again. anywhere, anytime support when you need it the most. Do you remember Pema Chodron, who we talked about earlier, the Buddhist teacher? She has a concept of the pause. It's that moment when you're triggered and you have a choice. You can react from your wound, your trigger, or you can pause and react from your wisest, highest self. The emergency regulation kit teaches you how to find that pause. The bonus gives you actual scripts for difficult conversations that you need to have. Those really hard conversations with your partner, with your kids, with family members who sense that something's wrong and are asking questions you don't quite know how to answer. These aren't about what to decide. They're about how to communicate clearly while you're healing. When you don't know how to say what you really want and need to say to the people who you love the most, the scripts are meant to help you find a voice so then you can speak from your best place. Now, I have something really special for people who are here now today. I know it's late for those people, particularly on the East Coast. If you enroll by midnight tonight, you're going to get two exclusive opportunities. So first, this is one of my favorites. You can submit one personal question about your specific betrayal situation. You can do it through video, you can do it through a voice note or through email, writing, whatever feels most comfortable. And I will personally record a detailed video response just for you, addressing your unique circumstances with strategies and insights tailored specifically to what you're going through. This is the same level of personalized expertise and attention people are normally paying $600 per private consultation with me to receive. Secondly, this sounds big. When you enroll right now, you can stay for the live Q&A happening right after the masterclass ends. And here's why this matters. Right now, there's something resonating in you. Your nervous system is already starting to shift just from what we covered today. This is the moment while you're here, while you're open, while the iron is hot to go deeper. The live Q&A isn't just about getting your questions answered. It's about being held in shared witnessing with others who understand you. It's it's about not just absorbing this information and going back to life as usual, but actually experiencing some needle moving healing right now in community with support. As a program member, you'll have access to live Q&A sessions with me every 6 weeks. But if you enroll today, you don't have to go back into that pain by yourself. You can stay in this intimate space and let the healing continue immediately. I can only offer personalized video responses to the first 10 people who enroll. I've learned that the hard way. It's really tough to have a 10-person cutoff, but that's my max for doing those videos. I put a lot of time and effort and love into them. So after that, the bonus is gone. So if you're feeling that pull, if you're feeling the resonance, if you're ready to stay in the healing space and not go back to life as usual, this is your moment. These three bonuses alone are worth over $900. And today they're yours for free when you enroll. I want you to feel completely confident in this investment. I'm offering a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Here's how it works. You'll access phase one, you'll work through the materials, you'll give yourself 30 days to really engage with it. If you don't feel like it's helpful, you'll get a free refund, full refund. No questions asked. No hoops to jump through. You say the word and it's yours. I can offer this guarantee because I've seen these evidence-based principles help hundreds of people in my practice. But I get it. Like you have to experience that for yourself to believe it. And this guarantee gives you the safety to try the program completely risk-free. Let me share one example of someone who's worked through this program. Please remember, this is just one person's experience. It's not a surefire guarantee of results, of outcomes. That said, I do think it's a really good illustration of what's possible in the program. Sarah enrolled in Surviving Betrayal 2 months after discovering her partner's affair. She told me, I was checking their phone every night. I wasn't sleeping, and I have a pretty big job and I make a lot of decisions. I have 2 kids and a really busy social life. But I couldn't even trust myself to pick out what to eat for lunch after the affair. Within the first month, just working through phase 1, Sarah was sleeping through the night without checking phones. By month 9, she told me, I finally trust my gut again. Whether we stay together or not, I am going to be okay. I feel like myself again. I'm strong, I'm clear, I'm back to being me. Sarah learned something crucial. You don't suddenly wake up with a lightning bolt of healing. You wake up one day and you realize, oh, wow, I've gone 5 minutes without thinking about it. Then an hour, then a morning. The trauma stops being the main character of your story. It becomes a chapter. That's what this program does. It gives you back the story of your life. So, what's the cost of waiting? We always have to do a risk benefit analysis. That just makes sense. The real cost, it's not the dollar amount investments. It's the real cost is what happens if you don't heal this. I also want to be sure you hear this. This is really important for my value system around agency. I believe in my program, and my program is not the only way to heal. At the end of the day, I want you to leave here knowing that healing is possible. Whether it's through this program or another path, you have got this. You can do this, and you deserve it. It's your peace of mind, it's your sleep, it's your ability to trust yourself, it's your capacity for joy, the quality of every future relationship you'll ever have. Soren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, he wrote, this is so true. I'm so happy he wrote this. He wrote, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Right now, you're trying to understand backwards what happened, why it happened, how you missed it. And that work is really important. I don't want to dismiss that. But friend, you have to live forwards too. You need to take steps toward healing, even when you don't fully understand everything about the past quite yet. You have to live forwards, starting now. Because the cost of waiting, it's not financial. It's your peace of mind. It's your sleep. It's your ability to trust yourself. It's the capacity to connect with your kids, to be present in beautiful moments. That's what's actually at stake here. That's why it's important to really consider the question of why now? So here's what I want you to ask yourself. Are you ready to learn to feel safe in your own body again? Are you ready to understand the principles that can help you sleep through the night? Are you ready to rebuild trust in your own judgment through evidence-based education? Are you ready to make decisions about your relationship from strength instead of panic? Are you ready to heal? Whether you stay, whether you leave, or are still deciding? If the answer is yes, here's how investment in this program is going to look. You can do the full payment of $497. For sure, that's the best value. Or you can do a payment plan, which is $47 per week for 12 weeks. Either way, you're going to get immediate access to phase 1 and the emergency regulation kit as soon as you enroll. Healing starts now. If the answer is yes, if you're ready to invest in this educational journey, then Surviving Betrayal, it's designed for you. Are you ready to feel safe in your body? To finally be able to enjoy a meal again? To laugh with your friends, with your kids? To rebuild trust in your own judgment? If that's a yes, then this program, I really built this with a lot of intention for those goals, for that outcome. It was designed just for you. Nair Wahid wrote, and here you are living despite it all. You showed up today. And that is a clear demonstration of your strength and commitment. You are living despite it all. You're here, you're learning, you're trying, you're surviving. And now it's time to move from surviving to thriving, from living despite it all to living because of it all, because you chose yourself, because you did the work, because you refused to let this wound define the rest of your life. This educational program, it provides structure, it provides guidance and evidence-based principles that you can apply to your unique situation. This is you choosing yourself. This is you saying, I deserve to learn how to feel safe again. I deserve access to education that can support my healing. I deserve to reclaim my life. That's what this program offers you. I want you to click the link if you below to enroll, choose your payment option, and start today. This is your invitation to come home to yourself once again. I am here for you. The program is ready for you. I want to thank you so much for being here.